Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam wa rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'du. We have a sister, what's your name? Princess. Sister Princess Amira. Okay? Amira. Okay, she's coming to embrace Islam as a way of life. And just before we're doing so, I just want to mention the 5 pillars of faith of Islam and the 6 pillars of Iman, so that you have a brief understanding or at least know what they are. And if you have any questions about any of them, you can ask about that, because we want to make sure that you're embracing Islam, understanding what you're embracing, inshallah. So the first thing to mention is the 5 pillars of Islam, which they are 5, and they are the Shahaadah. So the Shahaadah means the 2 declarations, the 2 testimonies that you're making. And these are the most important statements that you are going to make in your life. And this is the most important statement that is a statement that saves you from disgrace in this life and also disgrace in the next life. It saves you from dwelling in eternal hellfire. This is a statement that takes you to paradise. And so that statement is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. So this is what you're going to utter when I'm finished, inshallah. So La ilaha illallah means there's no deity, there's no God except Allah. Okay, so it's a 2-part. Except is this negating all gods that people worship because they're not true gods. And the only real God there is Allah. Okay, so that's the meaning of La ilaha illallah. So when you say that, that's what it means. So whatever people worship, whether it's something that you can see, whether it's an idea, something you can't see, whether it's spiritual, whatever it may be, but it's what they worship, what they put importance, their highest priority in life, that's what they direct their worship towards. And whatever is considered as worship, they put it towards that thing. And even if they do it towards multiple things, that's not allowed. You should only do that towards one, which is Allah. Okay? And the second part is Muhammad Rasulullah. So Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Abdul Muttalib, he is the final prophet that the only God sent down. He's the final prophet and final messenger at the same time. Okay? There were many prophets and there were messengers that came before him, but he's the last. There's none to come after him. Okay? So he is a man just like all the other men that were prophets and messengers that came before him. Like Jesus was a man, he was a prophet and a messenger. Like John was a man, Zechariah was a man, David was a man, Solomon was a man, Jonah, Job, Jacob, Israel, and on. Moses, Joseph, Abraham, they were men, right? They were prophets, and some of them that I mentioned, they were messengers. And they all came with one message. And that message is La ilaha illallah. There's no God except for Allah. All of them came with that same message. So their duty and their job was to convey the message to their people. Stop worshiping idols. Stop worshiping people that have died and you consider them to be righteous people now. And so you elevated them to Godship. You pray to them. You call upon them when you're in severe need. Don't do that. This is what their message was. And when Allah sent messages, rules, and regulations, they must be what? Adhered to, followed, and obeyed. So don't follow something that God has not revealed. Okay? So, and if someone is telling you to do something in contradiction to that, I can't do that because Allah said, do this, don't do this. So even though there are many laws, because man has made laws, they've made their own religions, they made their own ways of life. And many times they may make laws that go against what God has sent down. So we cannot follow that. So if it's good and it doesn't go against what God sent down, it's fine. We could follow that. But if it goes against, then we have to reject it. Okay? Even if it's so-called legal or whatever it may be, we still don't follow it. Just because it may be legal, for example, we live here in America, and the Constitution or the laws here in America doesn't mean it's legal for us, because Allah is above all, right? So because if we submit to man, then we can't submit to our Creator alone. So we have to only submit to Allah alone. So we can't have two gods. Okay? This is called shirk in Islam. We'll explain that later, inshallah. Okay? Which is like part of polytheism, having multiple gods. Okay? So Muhammad, he's the final messenger. He taught us how to worship God in the best way, to do what is pleasing. So Allah sent down the final message, the final revelation, which is the Quran, and how to live according to that Quran, how to live according to that message. Muhammad, he taught us how. So this is why he has a very important and prominent role. So he's our teacher, he's our master, he's our prophet, he's our messenger, he's the one that we follow, he's the best example. And Allah says in the Quran, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. He said, indeed, you have in the Messenger of Allah the best example. Okay? And he also mentioned other characteristics or things about him, showing that he's an exalted character. So if we want to know how to reform ourselves and how we should be with others, okay, whether it's with our parents, whether it's with our siblings, grandparents, our children, spouses, neighbors, co-workers, friends, enemies, everything we learn from him. He's the best possible example. Okay? So that's the Shahaadah 10. The third piece, any questions regarding that at the moment? Okay. So the third piece, which is the second pillar, which is the Salat. So this is important. After believing, then you must establish the Salat. And the Salat we mean here is praying, but a specific prayer that we do 5 times a day, which we just did one of them, okay, which is the Asr prayer. So each prayer we must do every day, 5 times a day, okay, and except for when there's a reason why we can't, okay. But so for example, for women, there's a time when you can't pray. You can't do the ritual prayer. That's what we did. But you can always do the other type of prayer, which we in Arabic is called dua, or supplication in English, where you could just talk to God, raise your hands and pray to him. You could be driving your car and having a conversation with God. You know, you could be praising him and magnifying and glorifying him. You could be asking him for help in whatever situation it is that you're going through. So you could do that while you driving, while you working, while you sitting down, however, right? But so you could do that anytime, okay? But the ritual prayer, which is what we did, what we do 5 times a day, then that during that time, for example, when the women have menses, that's when you don't do that ritual prayer. Okay, but you can still pray. So never lose your connection with God, with Allah. So the third thing is the zakat. So the zakat means like to purify yourself, and to purify your wealth is what this means here. And another interesting thing about the word zakat, it also means to get increase. So when you give, you're not losing. Actually, you're increasing. SubhanAllah, right? So that's the meaning of zakat. So zakat is not just meaning only to purify. It's not just charity. But when you're giving this specific wealth, you're also increasing your wealth at the same time. Okay? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَزِيدَنَكُمْ. If you show your gratitude by spending from what Allah has given you anyway, then he's going to do what? Give you increase. He's going to give you more. Okay? And he can give you more in this life, you'll see it, and he'll give you more in the next life, no doubt. Okay? So that's the zakat. And the zakat is something that when you have a certain amount of money after a year, you give 2.5% of that to help those who are in need. Okay? And then along with that, zakat also, when we say it's like wealth you could give anytime. So there's different type of zakat. So there's like a general zakat you can give anytime. You could, or sadaqah, you could like a smile. Okay, is a charity, right? Helping someone carry their bags is a charity. Okay, so any good deed that you do for someone else, and you're doing it only for the sake of God, only for the sake of Allah, this is part of purifying yourself, right? So when we do things, we shouldn't do it so that people can say, "Oh, thank you, I appreciate it so much." All right, a lot of times we want praise. Self-praise. But we have to say, you know what? No, I'm doing this for Allah. Because at times, people may forget, right? And they might not give you what you're looking for, right? They might not say thank you, right? And it's due. They should, because Allah says, whoever doesn't thank the people doesn't thank Allah, right? So if you are giving something, you should do what? Thank the people. Someone give you something, thank you. Someone do something, hold the door for you, thank you, right? So all these things we should do, but maybe the person don't do it. So the person that's doing a good deed, maybe you don't get it, and don't worry about it, because that good deed that you did, Allah is going to reward you for it, right? And so always remember, whatever good that I'm doing it for the sake of Allah. I don't need any reward from anyone. I don't need any thank you, nothing, because I'm doing it for the sake of Allah, and Allah will not let anything that I do go to waste. Okay, so that's the zakat and charity and sadaqah. Then the next pillar, which is a very important pillar, which is called a siyam or som, which is fasting, which is what we're doing now. Okay, in the month of Ramadan. Okay, so alhamdulillah, may Allah accept this shahada from you, because this is a blessed month that you're embracing this religion, this way of life. So this is the month of Ramadan, and so it's mandatory upon everyone who is healthy and who is not traveling at the time to fast the month of Ramadan. And so the fasting, of course, before the sun come up in the morning till the sun goes down in the evening. So we don't eat, we don't drink throughout the day, and we also avoid and we work on making sure that we don't say something that's not appropriate. We don't listen to something that's not appropriate. We don't watch something that's not appropriate. So we try to guard ourselves even more. These things we should do anyway, but we're more conscious about those things during the month of Ramadan, because the goal of fasting is that we become more conscious of our Creator, that we become more conscious of Allah, and that we have a close relationship with Allah. That's the goal of Ramadan. So we become more what's called gain taqwa. So we'll be more conscious of our Creator. Okay? And the fifth pillar is what's called the Hajj, or in English, the pilgrimage. So this is something that if you have the ability to do so, you should do it. You have to do it once in your life if you have the ability to do so. And so that's to go fulfill certain rites, do a couple of rituals. And these are some of the things that that we can relate to Prophet Abraham, what he went through, and his wife and his family, what they went through. And so we go through these rituals as a test of our faith for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so those are the 5 pillars. Okay, 6 pillars of Iman, of faith. Okay, number 1, to believe in Allah. Okay, there's no God but Allah alone. Okay, number 2, to believe in His malaika, His angels. So He has angels that do work. They obey Him, they don't disobey Him. Whatever He say do, they do. Okay, and one of the most well-known angels, Angel Gabriel, Angel Jibril. He's the angel of revelation. He gives the messages to the prophets and messengers and righteous people. Okay, so we know him, and he has different angels that we also know: the angel of death, the angel Israfil, the angel that'll blow the trumpet, and other than that, that's angels that control different that controls the clouds and rain. They do different works. There's angels with us recording our good deeds and our bad deeds, and there's angels that will be there to protect us as long as we live in a certain life. Okay. Wa kutubihi, his books. So he revealed books, revelations, one being the Torah, okay, another being what's called the Injil, and another being the Quran, and another called the Zabur and the Suhuf. So he revealed revelation to mankind. So the Torah he sent to Moses, with Moses. He sent the Zabur to Prophet David, and the Injil, the Gospel, to Jesus, and he sent the Quran to Muhammad. Peace and blessing be upon them all. So these, we believe in those books. The only book that we have intact as it is, the final revelation and the final decree, is the Quran. So it abrogates whatever came before it. Allah, He is the Hakim, He is the judge, right? And so we know if you go to court, the judge gives an order, right? And so whatever, if he gives another order after that, it does what? Abrogates the previous order. Whatever's in the previous order may still be applicable, but maybe some things that may not be applicable. So whatever the last order that he gave, that is what you have to what? Go by. You can't say, well, I got this other order. No. Well, that was then. I gave a new order. So the new order, overrides that other order. Okay? So the Quran is that final order, that final revelation that Allah has sent for mankind, everyone to follow. Okay? Then we have what's called the prophets and messengers. We have to believe that Allah sent these prophets and messengers to help mankind, to guide us, to do what? Worship him and him alone. Because leave it by itself, we'll be doing all type of things. If I'll say I want to do it like this, he'll say he want to do it like this, she'll say she want to do it, right? And that's why right now people are doing whatever they want to do. But you can't do whatever you want to do. You have to do what your creator wants you to do, right? Because just like you as a human, right, you know there's certain things that you like, right? And there's certain things that people would do that would what? Please you, make you happy, right? And if they did other than that, it will make you what? Unhappy. So a person can't come and say, well, I'm going to do this to make you happy when it does what? Not make you happy, right? So they have to do the things that are pleasing to you that make you happy. And that's what you, and then if they do that, you will also be pleased with them, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is more than that and above that. So he has told us certain things to do, which is considered worship. And so we have to do those things. We can't make up and do our own things to make him pray. He already decreed, I want you to do this, like this, like this, like this. So I can't come along and say, well, I think I should do this. May not be anything necessarily wrong with what I'm doing, but I can't do however I want to do it. I have to do it how he wanted to do it because he commanded it to be a certain way. Okay? So we have to do those things, and this is what the prophets and messengers taught us what to do. The fifth thing is to believe in what's called the hereafter. So everything from the time that our soul is taken from our bodies, what's going to happen when we're placed in our grave, what's going to happen on the day when the world ends, and what's going to happen when we all stand before our Creator and we're given our books about what it is that we did, so we see everything that we did, and to know that there are people that's going to go to the hellfire, there's people that's going to go to paradise, there's people that's going to go to the hellfire and they're never getting out, and there's people that's going to be there for a certain amount of time, they'll get out, and then they'll go to paradise. So all these things, we have to believe in that. The last thing, the sixth, is called the qadr, or the divine decree, that Allah has decreed certain things to happen. It may seem good, assalamu alaikum, to you, right? Or it may seem bad to you, okay? Meaning good, I like that Allah decreed this, okay? Wow, I just looked in my bank account, there's an extra $1,000. How did I get there? I like that, right? Or, oh, what happened? My bank account on zero, I'm in negative, right? I got to accept both. Right? So whatever good comes, I have to accept it. And whatever bad comes, I have to accept it. Okay? And so I have to be patient. So when the good comes, I'm going to what? Oh, thank you, God. I'm going to get down and bow a little bit, right? I'm going to be thankful. And when the hardships come, I'm going to what? Be patient. And I'm also going to be thankful because I'm knowing that why my Lord, he's putting me through this, he's testing me. Because this whole life is a test. And so he's giving me this opportunity to shine. Because without difficulty, without a little bit of roughness, without a little trial, how do we shine, right? We know that even people who deal with metals and things like gold and diamonds, in the beginning, it doesn't look very appealing. So it has to go through a hard and rough process in order to become that beautiful thing that it is. So as we go through our difficulties and in our trials, and we remain patient, Allah's given us the opportunity to shine. Okay, so these are our 6 articles of faith. Do you have any questions or about those? Okay, all right, khair, inshallah. So if that's understood, then you're ready to take your Shahaadah and enter the fold of Islam. Okay, so entering this fold of Islam, you're going to be a brand new individual. Okay, whatever good you've done in the past, Allah's going to give you that now. Whatever bad you've done, he's going to erase that, and he's going to add it to your scale of good deeds. She's counting like, man, I did a lot of stuff. All right? So it's gone. It's about to be gone. And now it's going to be added to your scale of good deeds, as long as you don't go back to that stuff. Okay? So you got to abandon it. You have to make oath to your oath. I'm not going to do that no more. I'm going to stay away from whatever is not good. Once I find out Islam says I can't do it, I'm not going to do it. Okay? So you have to make that commitment. All right? So repeat after me. We'll say in Arabic and then in English. Ready? Yes. All right. You're trying to have a lot of family now, a lot of billions of Muslims. Some of us are good and some of us are bad and some of us are real ugly. All right? So you know how that is. So pick, some family you're going to really love and be happy to be around, and some, hey, I love you from afar. Okay? That's just how it is. That's a reality. But at the same time, I still love you as my brother in Islam, as my sister in Islam, but I can't hang with you. Right? That may happen sometimes. And then there's some people you're going to be real close to. You're going to be very close to, inshallah. Okay? So say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Rasulu Allah. Okay, Allahu Akbar. In English, I bear witness, I testify without any compulsion, there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. And I bear witness and testify and declare without any compulsion that Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Abdul Muttalib is the prophet, the servant, and messenger of Allah. Takbir. 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 May Allah protect you, sister. May you become from the best of women that walk this earth. May He guide you to everything that is good for you. May you be an example for others. May you be from the people that He loves. Ameen. So welcome to Islam. You are a sister in Islam. And now the only thing that's important after this is to learn the salah. Okay? And whatever other questions you may have along the way, we're here to help you. Inshallah, you have one of your sisters right there, Amina. She can, maybe get her number or something like that. And maybe she could check in on you. Are you able to do that, sister? Inshallah. So this is one of our great sisters and role models that's here. So you could benefit a lot from her. Okay? May Allah reward you. Assalamu alaikum.